Hello, my name is Ben Fry. This video's purpose is for graduate school course EDU-526 through William Woods University. Um, it addresses a scenario between a confrontational um, person and an athletic director. This scenario is called Strategies for Dealing with the Must Be Right CP. In this scenario, an AD notices a disgruntled parent at the front desk of the school. Um, the uh, the CP goes on and is saying, "I want to see the AD now, and I don't want any excuses. I mean now." The AD sees this while they're on the phone, says, "Let me call you back." Walks up to the confrontational person. Good morning. How can I help you? The CP then responds, "I want some answers and I don't want any excuses or cover ups." The AD, "Please come in. You indicated that you wanted some information." The CP, "You're right, I do. You would too." In this scenario, they are using some expletive language. Um, the AD responds, "I can see that something is really bothering you." The CP, "Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that, yeah, I'm furious. Anybody would be if they got treated like my kid got treated." Um, Conversation continues. The AD, "Your irritation is really apparent. Can we discuss the cause or causes of your frustration?" Um, Using more expletive language, the CP blames the coach, says he's not being fair. The AD asks how the coach is not being fair. Um, the CP then gets to the root of the problem. Yeah, Bobby hasn't missed a practice. He does his schoolwork. He never cuts class. He's been on the squad 4 seasons and he never gets to play. The AD then repeats everything that he's just heard. "Let me be sure what I've heard you say. Bobby is a good student and a good squad member, but doesn't get to play as much as he and you would like." The CP then responds, "Yeah, I asked him what he did at practice, and he says he played scout team. I asked if coach said anything to him, and he says no." Um, the AD, "Tell me what you know about Bobby's skills as related to his teammates." The CP responds, "Well, he was a regular when he played middle school ball, and I sent him to summer camps every year since." Um, the AD or facilitator responds to that. "So he was a regular starter in eighth grade, but isn't playing now as an eighth grader or as a senior." Um, the uh, the CP, being sarcastic, responds, "Yeah, that stupid coach isn't fair and doesn't recognize talent." Um, the AD responds, "What would you like to see happen?" And the CP says, "Play him, or at least talk to him. Tell him what he needs to do to get better and play more." The AD asks, have the CP or Bobby talk to the coach. Um, the uh, the CP again responds sarcastically, "Well, what do you pay him for? Doesn't he need to talk to kids?" The AD responds, "We want our coaches to be available to discuss concerns and issues with players and parents." Um, the CP then responds, "Yeah, right. That guy isn't approachable." The AD, you know, continues, "If I understand correctly, there hasn't been any communication." The CP responds, "That coach doesn't talk to anyone." The AD then asks, "What if I ask the coach to meet with you, Bobby, and myself?" The CP responds, "What good would that do?" The AD, "I could ask coach to bring along his charts and player stats so we could see how he compares to the others." The CP says, "Bobby's a senior. Doesn't that mean something?" The AD responds, "We appreciate his loyalty and hard work, and I'm sure coach appreciates the role Bobby plays on the team." The CP then sarcastically says, "Yeah, right, then play him." Um, and the AD kind of finalizes this scenario by saying, "I would really be happy um, to facilitate the communications you said is missing." Now, this situation occurs every day in an athletic director and a coach's standpoint. Um, Parents are going to be big advocates for their kids, regardless of their skill level sometimes. and they're going to push that their kid sees more playing time. Now, in this situation, the parent does bring up a good concern in that they have not been able to talk to the coach. The only thing that wasn't addressed in this situation was if the parents, or if the parent and Bobby had made an attempt to talk to the coach. The only thing that's stated in here is that the coach is unapproachable and that he doesn't talk to anyone. Now, there are a lot of coaches out there that prefer not to talk to parents, just for the simple fact that they don't want to deal with this kind of conversation all the time. That doesn't mean that they're not willing to talk about it, but they're not going to be open with everyone about it. The problem that rises there is that these coaches are dealing with people's kids. So the parents and the kids kind of have, well, the parents have a little bit of a right to know what's going on with their kid. Um, but in the way that this situation was handled, I think the AD did everything that he needed to do. Um, as you heard me read throughout the scenario, constantly repeats the situation, repeats what he's hearing back to the CP to make sure that the CP understands that I'm hearing everything you're saying, I'm listening. How can I help you? He's getting that message across. Um, when it the discussion on his kid's ability, we can, I'm sure the coach really appreciates the work that Bobby puts in at practice. Um, we can have him come in and we can have him bring his spray charts and his shot charts, his percentages, all that kind of stuff to show where he's at, where he needs to be, that kind of thing. The CP's response to what what needs to happen is, he needs to be played more. And his another response he has is that he's a senior. Doesn't that mean something? While recognizing your seniors on your team is an important job of every coach and administrator, the problem with going with, well, he's a senior, doesn't that mean something? Now, as an athletic director, you're asking me to dictate where my coaches or who my coaches are playing to make it equal for everyone. That's not exactly how that works. In this scenario, the AD, like I said, handled everything correctly. The root of the problem is pretty simple. A parent is upset about their kid not getting the playing time that they think they deserve. Now, as I said, parents are going to be the biggest advocates for their kids as far as playing time goes. But sometimes the player's skill level isn't quite where it needs to be. Sometimes, there's politics involved, but we really try to avoid that situation as an AD, and we try and make sure our coaches avoid that situation. But in this scenario, the AD asking the parent and the player and the coach to sit down and discuss all of this is the perfect way to handle it. Now, the parent sarcastically doesn't think that's going to solve anything. But I think it would give them exactly what they want. They want to know why their kid's not playing. Now, what else could be done about this? I would, as an AD, I believe that there needs to be kind of a chain of command in the way that things get brought up. Obviously, barging into the office and cussing out the secretary that you need to talk to the AD isn't probably the best way to handle this situation. I think obviously the first thing they need to do is Bobby needs to talk to his coach, especially with the way people are today, kids are today, especially with only communicating through cell phones, all that kind of stuff. It's very seldom that a kid actually goes up and talks to their coach about what they have to do to get more playing time, that kind of stuff. They're just going to go home and complain that they're not getting it. And that's from my experience as a coach and as an AD. So Bobby needs to take an approach and go talk to the coach, see if the coach won't talk to him. Then he can go home and say, yeah, I tried to talk to coach. He didn't say anything. Then we're at the point we're at right now. But it's not clear in this situation as to whether or not an attempt has been made by the parent or by Bobby to talk to the coach in regards to this situation. Is there a system problem that needs to be addressed here? I think it's just that. there's not a clear chain of command on why or on who needs to be addressed first in this situation. The other issue is a coach coming across as unapproachable isn't ideal. Obviously, some coaches have 24-hour rules where they don't want to talk to a parent for 24 hours after the parent gets upset about something to give everybody time to cool down, gather facts, all that kind of stuff. Well, in this situation, it just seems like this coach doesn't talk to his kids about anything in regards to playing time or where they're at. So that needs to be addressed. The remedy that I would suggest for this is exactly what he's trying to get accomplished. He's trying to get a meeting facilitated between the parent, the student athlete, and the coach to understand where they're at as not only a member of the team, but as a program. Where is my kid? What is my kid's role? What is this player's role? What does he have to do to improve that role or get more minutes? That kind of thing. So the last question, if the CP declines the meeting to review the data, what alternatives do you suggest? I think if they decline the meeting, then this situation really isn't that important to them. They're just upset that their kid doesn't play. Now, if they decline the meeting, the only thing I would suggest, well, tell Bobby that he needs to have the conversation with coach. And if he doesn't want to have the conversation with the coach, then maybe I'll go to the coach as the AD and ask him, hey, can you enlighten me on what's going on, why you don't think this player is good enough to play varsity, be a starter, be getting more minutes, that kind of thing. Now, from my experience, what I'm going to get back from the coach there is, well, why isn't Bobby talking to me, or why isn't the parent talking to me? In this situation, the coach comes across as unapproachable. Whether they've tried to make that, attempt to talk to him, it's unclear. But I think if the CP declines the meeting, you just kind of got to roll with it. And if this situation continues to escalate, then you're going to have bigger problems down the road. I think this is the step that needs to be taken, and you really need to push for that meeting. But all in all, I think this is a great scenario. I think the AD did exactly what he needed to do. So, thank you.